Let me tell you how two girls walked into a place where no one wanted them. And by the time they walked out, everyone had to admit, maybe for the first time ever, what real strength actually looks like. This isn't a fairy tale, it's not some highlight reel, and honestly, it's not even a story about karate. Not really. It's about what happens when you refuse to kneel, even if the whole room is waiting for you to drop. Kayla and Kiera Freeman, 14-year-old twins, stepped through the glass doors of White Oak Martial Arts with brand new uniforms, their hair neatly braided, faces that tried to hide every ounce of nerves. But you know how it is. No matter how tough you look, you can feel when a room turns cold. First day, and it was like the world hit pause just to check them out. Two black girls surrounded by a sea of white belts and even whiter faces. "We got this," Kiera whispered, and Kayla nodded, but their hands were shaking just the same. Sensei Harris came over. Maybe 50, strict, but polite in that way people are when they don't really want you there, but no, they can't say so. Bags on the rack. White belt group. Let's go. No one said a word, but you could feel the eyes. A couple of whispers. The Wakanda twins are here. Some snickers, some glares. Kayla and Kiera kept their heads down. But from the corner of the mat, Lexi and Madison, black belts, 17, both tall, both used to running the show, washed with faces so cold you'd think the air conditioning was set to freeze. Warm-up drills. Basic stances. Kayla and Kiera moved awkwardly, picking things up slower than the rest, but everyone could tell they were being watched for all the wrong reasons. When sparring started, Lexi and Madison swooped in. "New girl, spar with me," Lexi said to Kayla, flashing a smile sharp as broken glass. Kiera barely got a warning before Madison pulled her into the ring, too. "Light sparring," Sensei said, but as soon as the bout ended, Lexi's roundhouse caught Kayla hard in the ribs. "Oops, my bad." Madison did the same to Kiera, a punch way too fast for beginners, and Sensei just looked the other way. "Welcome to karate, girls. Hope you survive." After class, Kayla's gloves came off slow. "They did that on purpose," she muttered, but Kiera just shook her head. "Sensei looked at us like that's just how it's supposed to be." They tried not to limp on the way out, but when they saw their dad's old pickup, both of them straightened up. Marcus Freeman, ex-military, eyes that missed nothing, hands that used to carry rifles but now just tried to hold his family together. He saw the bruises, didn't say much. "First sessions are always rough," was all he managed, and they nodded because what else do you say? The ride home was quiet, heavy, like every kid knows when the world's been unfair and you don't know what to do about it. That night, in their little bedroom, the girls sat with ice packs, barely talking, both wondering if this was what karate was going to be. Maybe quitting crossed their minds, but neither wanted to say it first. Next morning, Marcus called them into the garage. "Not official training," he said, "just some things you need to know if you want to survive in a place like White Oak." He wrapped their hands in cloth, showed them how to block, how to move their feet, how to hit back if it came to that. It wasn't about winning points. It was about not getting broken. 3 days later, something had shifted. Kayla and Kiera weren't any smoother on the mat, but the way they looked at Lexi and Madison, the fear was gone. When Lexi tried another cheap shot, Kayla blocked it, didn't flinch. Kiera sidestepped Madison, not by the book, but by instinct, by survival. After class, Lexi whispered to Madison, "They're learning too fast." For the first time, you could see it. Their confidence was cracking. At home, the garage became a dojo. Punching bags, drills, hours and hours. Marcus teaching not from a textbook, but from what he learned overseas. How to keep your head, how to strike when your opponent drops their guard, how to never let anger get the better of you. "Pretty moves won't get you out of danger," he'd say. "It's all about the cold mind and the surprise hit." Kayla got faster, Kiera more strategic. They learned to fight together, silent signals, a glance or a nod, always in sync. By the 6th week, White Oak Dojo started rotating partners. Black belts with white belts. Lexi paired with Kayla, Madison with Kiera. "Simulation only," Sensei said, but everyone knew the real fight was on. Lexi feigned a gentle instruction, then snapped a punch straight at Kayla's chest. Kayla held her ground. "Oops, forgot girls need a gentler touch," Lexi mocked. But the girls stayed calm, responding, not reacting. Parents on the sidelines started to notice. Sensei's face was tight, but he didn't stop it. Then the twist. Marcus entered them in the Tri-County Youth Martial Arts Tournament, Open Division. "We're just white belts," the girls protested. "Belts categorize students, not worth," Marcus replied. "You're not here to be accepted. You're here to change what they see." In the garage, training hit another level. The girls worked on finishing moves, close combat, everything their dad had ever learned. "Don't expect fair fights," Marcus warned. "You're representing everyone who's ever been told they don't belong." Word got out. White belts in the open division. The dojo buzzed with rumors. Lexi and Madison plotted a comeback. Even Sensei Harris tried to persuade Marcus to pull them out, worried about scandal if they lost. But Marcus wasn't backing down. "If you can't protect justice inside your own dojo," he told Sensei, "don't stop others from protecting themselves." The night before the tournament, the family sat together. Marcus showed them an old box from his service days, filled with keepsakes. "I survived the battlefield," he said. "Now you'll survive the mat. But remember, the real fight isn't for points. It's about proving you can't be pushed aside." That night, nobody slept much. Tournament day. Packed arena, hundreds of kids, coaches, parents. Kayla and Kiera tied their belts, heads high. "You sure you don't want to switch to the yellow belt bracket?" the registrar asked. "We're sure," they said. Across the hall, Lexi and Madison watched, faces a mix of anger and fear. Kayla's first match, a green belt. First round, she dodged, then countered. A perfect kick, then a punch, clean and sharp. The crowd gasped. Point for Freeman. Second round, she took a hit, but didn't back down, finished the match strong. The gym started to buzz. Maybe this wasn't a fluke. Kiera's match, even tougher, against a brown belt. She used her head, dodged the power moves, then slipped in a knee to the ribs. Point. Match over. Freeman wins. Now everyone was watching. Then the big showdown. Lexi versus Kayla. The tension was thick. Lexi came at her hard, but Kayla was ready, reading every move, blocking, waiting. Then a leg sweep sent Lexi to the mat. Point. Match over. For the first time, Lexi looked scared. Madison faced Kiera next. Fast, furious, but Kiera didn't flinch. When Madison went wild, Kiera waited, then landed a kick right at the weak spot her dad had shown her. Point. Match over. The arena exploded. 2 yellow belts had just wiped out the top 2 black belts from White Oak. On the ride home, Marcus said, "I'm proud, not because you won, but because you stood your ground." The next day, the town went nuts. Clips of the matches blew up on social media, half the comments cheering, half accusing the girls of cheating. The dojo was shaken. Complaints filed, demands for an investigation. Marcus was called in. "Pull your daughters quietly or risk being banned," Sensei pleaded. But Marcus refused. "Belts, trophies, those are things people hand out. Real respect is something you earn, and nobody can take it away." The girls agreed. "We're not competing for trophies. We're competing so nobody ever thinks they have the right to hurt someone just for being different." The investigation cleared them, but the message was clear: keep your head down. The final tournament was even bigger, state reps and journalists everywhere. Kayla and Kiera stepped onto the mat, calm, focused, their dad's words in their heads. "Don't fight just to win. Fight so people know there's another way to rise." Kayla's final match was against a decorated black belt. She dodged, waited, then swept her off her feet. The crowd went wild. Kiera's rematch with Madison was brutal, but she kept her cool, then delivered the winning blow. As they walked off the mat, other kids, Asian, Latino, shy, bullied, lined up to bump fists. That's when you know you've started something. The story didn't end there. Sensei Harris tied their black belts, admitting he'd learned more about honor from them than he'd ever taught. The school formed a new club for kids who didn't fit in. Even Madison wrote a letter. "I lost because of my pride, not because you cheated. Wishing you continued strength." And you know what? Maybe the real victory wasn't the gold medals or the belts. It was 2 girls who wouldn't kneel, a father who refused to step back, and a community that, slowly, had to open its eyes. Maybe the system didn't fall, but it cracked just enough for the next kid to get through. If this story hit you anywhere deep, leave a comment below. Have you ever had to fight just to stand in a place you belonged? Would you have stepped back or stepped up like Kayla and Kiera? Hit like, subscribe, and share if you think someone else needs to hear this. Because every time you stand up, you're making it easier for the next person. And that, my friend, is what keeps the world turning forward.